So today is a bad day. There's a cat that's very distracting, but it's going to be fine. Today's a weird day. I feel isolated. I feel like I want to do things. I feel lazy. I feel like I don't want to do things, but if I don't do things, I'm going to feel bored. But I don't have the energy to do things. Let's talk about something more interesting. So there's this girl, and I really hope she never sees this because it's not really fair to talk about her on the internet without her permission, but I'm not going to be too specific. I like her a lot. I think we're very different in a lot of interesting ways and the same in some really important ways, which is good. I just hate feeling emotionally dependent on people. I hate it. I've had so many times where I felt emotionally dependent on someone and they let that down. And it's starting to get there with her. And I don't know what to do about it. I also want to talk about polyamory today. This is a train wreck. Maybe that should be this video. So this video is about polyamory. For me, an open relationship is when you're in a relationship with someone where maybe physically you are open and you might be physically connecting with people outside of your relationship, but emotionally you are completely in love with only one person. But I define polyamory as having the capacity or the permission to love people outside of your relationship. So you have perhaps a primary partner, but you have other people that you are emotionally very connected to romantically. My experience with polyamory has not been the most positive. The reason that I like the idea of it is that I've been in relationships in the past where emotionally I've been connecting with other people outside of my partner, and I don't want to say it was against my will or anything like that, but it was difficult to control. And I did my best to be honest with my partner about it, and to control it as much as I could. I tried not to flirt. I definitely did not physically act on it at all. But eventually it was something that I did not want to be feeling and that I was feeling. And so we broke up. I wasn't able to keep a lid on it. So then after we broke up, I started looking into polyamory because I was having these feelings that it was very difficult to control. And so I thought, well, what if I was in a relationship where I didn't have to control these crushes, with an understanding that I was never going to physically cheat, but perhaps flirting would be acceptable. And so I started looking into it. And a while later, I got into a monogamous relationship with someone, and we talked about opening it up. But the conversation didn't go very well. They were decided in the end. They were arguing that they should be completely open and polyamorous, but I would be monogamous to them while they were being polyamorous, which did not sit very well with me, that they would have freedoms that I would not. The relationship came to an end not too long after. So polyamory practically has not worked for me thus far, but I still believe in it. Something that polyamorous people speak about is making your lovers more like your friends and your friends more like your lovers, and I absolutely believe in that. And how I interpret it is that we should not be waiting and depending upon and wholly emotionally dependent upon one single person who is our romantic partner. We should be treating our friends more like our lovers, in the sense that we should be connecting more with our friends and using them as a support system outside of anything romantic, which can go well and can go badly, and that has its ups and downs, whereas your friends can be so much more dedicated to you than many romantic partners. And the other side is that, your lovers should be more like your friends, that there's someone who maybe comes into your life and they can occupy a certain place that doesn't need to be, a trial for marriage. Not every relationship needs to be a precursor to getting married. It can just be having someone in your life for the amount of time that they belong there, and then they move on. And to treat that a little more casually, and it really helps me reinterpret why someone is there and what they bring to my life, and therefore how much of a presence should they have. Because sometimes people who are not bringing the best things into my life, or who bring certain things like a great physical connection, but maybe they shouldn't be involved in my emotional decision making. And I think that's really relevant when you're a single polyamorous person. It's this principle that you evaluate the relationships in your life outside of all of these presumptions, all of these assumptions that we've been given since we were children, and that way you're able to, or you try to evaluate every new relationship that comes into your life with as clear eyes as you possibly can. I mean, for me, polyamory isn't about wanting to have a lot of sex with a lot of different people. I'm not a fan of, even if I'm single but having sex with people, I'm not a fan of having ongoing sex with multiple people at once. That doesn't make me feel comfortable. I feel like my body belongs to one person at a time, I suppose. Something that I struggle with a lot when I'm connecting with someone in any kind of context, mostly romantic / sexual, is being myself, not feeling like I need to be a bright, shiny, fun version of myself. I think everyone struggles with that, Every first date, you're putting on your best face possible. But I think it's very difficult for us to feel comfortable not being our best selves in front of other people. I think that's something that people in a long-term relationship, that's what you get. You get to see this person at their highs and at their lows. And when you're single, you don't have someone who's that intimately connected to you, unless you have amazing friends. Every day I'm trying to live as authentically as I can, and by that I mean that I try to act by instinct. I try to instinctively say what's on my mind. I try to instinctively say I like that or I don't like that. I try not to let myself overthink, in the sense of, would that person like it if I liked it? If they introduce me to their favorite movie and I say that I liked it, is it because I like it, or is it because I want them to like me? And so every day I'm trying to make sure that I'm answering, or that I'm responding to the people around me as authentically as possible. Because when you start overthinking and you're trapped in this, that you need people to like you, and you let that affect how you behave towards them, then they don't know who you are and you're not existing comfortably. And so every day I'm trying to get better at being myself, but it's just very difficult. It was easy when I was traveling, because you meet people for the first time, you have this total clean slate, and you know that if they don't like you, then in 3-4 days you're going to leave the country and never see them again, guarantee. So there's a lot less at stake than your friends that you've known for years, and you know that they're going to be in your life for years. So I shaved my head. Do you guys like it? I try not to overanalyze why I did it, because, well, I know why I did it. I did it because I want to be interesting. I want people to immediately look at me and think, oh, she's interesting. People talk to you more easily. They walk up to you and they say, I like your hair, and you start talking. And I like that. I found when I had like a bob, about 2 years ago, I grew up my hair a lot and I had a bob. To me, that's a lot of hair. And I found that went away. People didn't assume that I was interesting. People assumed that I was normal. And then they'd talk to me and they'd find out that I'm kind of interesting. But you had to go through that legwork first. I want to see a therapist again, because all of these thoughts of that I'm selfish, narcissistic, shallow, adjectives that start with self, self-absorbed, self-important, self-obsessed, too much self. Adjectives that sound neutral, but in fact they are an attack against myself. I use them to attack myself. And I thought I was past this, and I'm not. And it comes back to sex too. I'm always worried that I'm being too selfish in bed. Maybe I am sometimes. I just feel alone. But then I feel weak for not being able to just rely on myself and be self-sufficient, which sounds stupid when I say it out loud because no one can ever be self-sufficient completely, and that's not a fair expectation to put on myself. This is my little bok choy. I'm growing a little bok choy. Isn't it adorable? And it was so hard with her because I was trying so hard. I feel like I failed and I tried so hard, and I've been managing to keep these like "you're failing" voices out of my head. But you know, after seeing her for a couple of weeks, and you know, every time I'm not improving, that the voices are just getting stronger. And I want to clarify, I'm not hallucinating. Um, it's just that we've all got those crappy little voices in our head that tell us things that aren't necessarily true and make us feel like shit. And that's what it is. And I've been getting so good at keeping those shitty voices at bay, but today is just not a good day. And I didn't do good enough. I'm not good enough. Always, always, always that I'm not good enough. But then when I am good enough, it swings. That's my problem, is that it's all or nothing. It's either you're totally crap and useless and not good enough, or when I go well and I am good enough, I'm the best in the world. You know, it's right up in that arrogance side of it. And I don't want to be arrogant, and I don't want to be... This is my stingray. It's a little difficult to see. I'll put a little proper photo of it. I call him Steve, and Australians will know why. Actually, probably most people will know why. I think I'm going to be single and sexless for a while. Again. Yay. I need to get a therapist. I think that concludes our little session today. I hope you guys are having a better day than I am. And if you're not, then I hope that tomorrow is a better day.